Hey now, and welcome. We're back from Malta, and we're back in the attic.
Which means I can do what I absolutely could not do on the official CATAN stream, which is let out every single one of the swear words I wanted to let out while we were live on air. Starting with
But first, let's talk to someone who's actually playing at the championship.
instead of just messing around backstage like us idiots.
Yay!
Bill Bus, Bill Bus.
Well done.
Thank
29th out of 86. Well done.
Yes.
Very, very good.
I am very, very, very happy with this.
You should be.
Yes.
It was very cool.
It's getting framed.
So
We should
29th,
frame it.
yeah, 29th out of 86, and then 10 women. There's only 10 women down there.
Only 10 women. Yeah.
And 29th being the second highest woman.
Yes. Representing with all the girls.
Golf clap, golf clap.
Yeah,
clap.
we need to get more of us in there in the
definitely.
CATAN world.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully every European and Worlds there'll be a few more each
More
time.
every turn.
We'll
Yeah,
see
exactly.
a slight increase.
That'd be
Yeah,
good, that'd be
that would be
good.
amazing.
So tell me, how was it? How was the Worlds? So compared to Utrecht in the last time, in the Europeans there, compared to the Worlds now in Malta, how did you feel?
Well, I mean, obviously the Europeans were amazing, and then we went to the Worlds, and I mean, it was a much bigger affair. Obviously, there was so many more competitors there. I found that kind of the most interesting difference was game style. You know, I never realized there was such a different game style to be had, because in the Europeans, I didn't see that. You know, everybody kind of played pretty much like I did. And then when I went to the Worlds, I went, whoa, okay, there's a different way of playing this game. And it's just very much talking, a lot more talking. Like I wouldn't say my games were silent, but certainly in the Worlds, I came across people who were very vocal about what was going on the board and what kind of cards you might have, or cards that they have even, and kind of trying to make a plan about where to go with you to mess somebody else up, or to and you never really knew if it was complete manipulation or if they were being genuine. And I just found it quite overwhelming.
Or if they were straight out bullshitting.
Exactly. Completely.
100%.
Yeah. So I just found it a little bit overwhelming, but I suppose it's something I'll have to get used to if I want to go back.
Yeah.
There's definitely distinct styles. So like when we were watching the Europeans, obviously there's a stating the obvious European style of playing, but then at the Worlds end we definitely saw kind of a more American and Canadian style of playing, which is a more aggressive, but not aggressive in a bad way, but like just in your face of talking about everything. And you talking about, okay, well, if you go there, I'll go here. Cardi, where are you going to go? You better go there, and that'll be good for you. And then Lynn, if you go here, then we can do this. And everyone discusses everyone's moves, which is very different.
Yeah.
It's kind of
for
like
us anyway.
Yeah.
CATAN mixed with Survivor.
Yeah.
Alliances are made and broken.
Or even not just keeping cards to yourself, for that where I'd be very secretive about what I have. You know, sometimes people were very, well, I've got a knight and I'm going to use that knight if the robbers put on me, and they're very vocal about what they have. But then again, it could be all poker face. It could all just be, am I telling the truth? Am I not? And that's just another element that I'm not used to, and you have to kind of weed your way through that, and how you're going to play against a player like that. So definitely learned a lot. Yeah.
Very vocal about what you should do.
That as well.
There's lots of you should or you will do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And it's like, if that was said in one of our games that we would play on a Friday night, it would be met with a,
what are you doing?
shut the F up. This is none of your business. This is my move,
Yeah.
So it is a completely different headspace to be in.
It is, absolutely. And like that, it does mess with you, because you're thinking, are they telling me what I really should do? Or should I? And it just makes you think and double think and triple think, and then you just find it.
It is interesting when you're watching a game where someone is maybe leading the discussion in that regard, and it's like, oh, are they telling the truth? And then you find out, oh, actually, most of the time they are right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because often when they try and kind of manipulate people to do what they want to do, it is in everyone's benefit, and in most cases as well, to kind of progress the game a bit longer. So it isn't like, here, trade with me 5 things so I can just build a city. But it's more like, oh, well, the game will go on, but then of course if someone else can do something to make the game go on that hinders you, well, then they're all going to try and do that as well.
But it's also when you realise, oh, what they're saying is right, and they're right maybe 5 times, then the 6th time could be a complete manipulation, and then they are doing it to F you up. So it's it's interesting.
It is.
Let's talk a little bit about your games, because we had 2 wins in there. It was ups and downs. It was an emotional roller coaster.
Oh,
Very much.
completely. My God. So after the first game, I'd won. It was a good win, and I was just on cloud 9. I was thinking, I can do this. You know, this is great. And then game 2 happened, and I did not do so well. In fact, I did pretty damn badly. And
But all hope wasn't lost though, because
No.
after, so it was 4 games on the day, and after the second game we'd lunch, and when we were all talking at lunchtime what to do, we were like, okay, well, to have a good chance of getting into the top 16, I mean, easy to say, just win your next 2 games. But then you went back into your third game
and won that one.
And won straight
won
out.
that one well as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was, that again, back up on cloud 9. I was
off to a great start.
I was thinking, I can do this. All I have to do is win the last game and I might be into the top 16. And it didn't go that way for me in the 4th game, unfortunately. It was just a complete mess for me.
Still an outstanding showing, though.
It's big time.
Yes, I am still very proud of my performance, and hopefully, I might get to go back one day.
Yeah.
Along
Yeah.
with our other Irish competitor,
He
who was
did so
also
well.
competing.
Garvin, yeah.
Yeah, he
Garvin.
did so well.
Because you won your spot for the Europeans and then got invited back to the Worlds, and then Garvin then won his spot in the Worlds, and then he'll be invited back to next year's Europeans.
Yeah.
Wherever that could be.
I
Who knows
think,
yet.
Fair play to Garvin. I think, the Irish represented.
Big time.
Yeah,
Big time.
we did.
So, highlights of the weekend.
Well, I mean, obviously the game is incredible. It's always incredible to play against different people. The night before, I got to play against the previous reigning champion.
Quetzal.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Quetzal. And what a fabulous man.
Yeah, he's really nice.
Yeah, such a gentleman, so nice to play against. He's just so friendly, and yes, had fun playing with him. And and then Malta itself is just beautiful. We had some little dips in the Mediterranean, and that was.
I'm so glad you brought up the bit
Yeah.
that wasn't about the game.
It wasn't nothing about the game.
My
but it
favourite
was fun.
part was when it was in the 5-star hotel that was on
True.
the waterfront. That
Yeah.
was the highlight.
That
for
was pretty
me.
nice.
Yeah.
Pretty
And then
nice.
had 2 pools, but then we just spent the time in the sea.
Yeah, no, the pool was freezing, lads.
It was.
Yeah, the outdoor
good
one
years.
was.
Yeah, but everything, the whole competition, the whole organization of it. Wow,
Yeah.
they really put in so much work. You have to just say fair play to Donna
big time.
and to
Yes.
and to Stephanie and to everybody
To
there.
Catan Studio, Catan GmbH,
Yeah, Cosmos.
Cosmos,
Yeah.
De Veer,
De Veer.
all of the companies that I learnt about and then forgot to mention at the end of the live stream because I was so tired.
Yeah, they really put on a absolute wonderful event.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed all the dinners and just getting to know everybody.
The company.
Yeah.
The company was just so nice.
Oh, it
Everyone
was.
was just so nice.
I met
It
so
was.
many nice people. Peter from Australia.
Yeah,
and
Pete, shout out.
obviously Servash from Canada. We were good friends with her.
The crack was
Elise from
nice
Canada as
with
well.
Soraya.
Yeah, had great fun with her. Hisatake from
Japan.
Yeah, it was absolutely fab to sit and talk with, and Luca and his girlfriend,
Christine.
Yeah, they were
Good fun.
good fun as well. I met so many people from so many different countries, and it was
and
Boat.
And Boat
Boat,
from
yeah.
Thailand.
Thailand, yes,
But I played my first game with him all the way back when.
In Utrecht?
Yeah.
In Cologne.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
we recognised oh my god, it's so nice to see those recurring. And speaking
Yeah.
of recurring faces, Richard Goff was there.
Yes,
Sylvanas
he
was
did very
there.
well.
Yeah.
She's been in Cologne, Utrecht, and Malta now as well. Shout out.
Richard did very well as well. He did brilliant.
Richard was there just to have a good time. I
Ah,
remember
yeah.
chatting to him the night before. He made it to the semis and he's like,
Yeah.
I've got nothing to prove now. I've made it here 3 times. I just want to play the game. That's it. I was like, I respect that, Richard.
Fair play.
So look, that was a super job.
Yeah.
29th.
you.
Come on. It was
Yeah.
so good. So
I am
proud
delighted.
of you.
I'm so delighted with it. Yeah. Hopefully I'll get back there one day.
Yeah. Listen, there'll be another qualifier.
Yeah.
We'll all be there. And the second we all get knocked out, it'll be go Team Lynn. Come on,
Yeah,
you can do
exactly.
it.
So yeah, thanks so much for chatting to us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Lynn. So while Linda was off playing games, it was a tournament after all, we kind of just hung around for the first 2 days, getting to know people in case any of them made them to the semis that we were commentating on the Sunday.
Yeah, because that was one of the things that Catan had said is chat to as many people as you can, because hopefully then some of the people you'll be talking to, if they're in the final, you've got some cool info. You know them. You know what I mean? Now, it was so easy to talk to everyone over there anyway, because everyone was so friendly. Like, the people were just so nice. The players, the staff, everyone was so nice. Plus, also, because everyone was there for Catan.
You always had something to chat
Always.
about.
The
There
ice was
wasn't really awkward moments, because they'd be like, yeah, do you like this game? Yeah. No way. That's mad. What
But
are the
it
chances?
was really good because, yeah, you could just immediately jump in, talk about Catan, and then it was so nice. Plus, everyone just, as I said, was just so friendly.
It was also like in Malta. Let's just take a moment to appreciate how good an idea that is. Let's have this game that's about an island on this beautiful Mediterranean island in a 5-star hotel.
Beautiful.
On the seafront. I said all of this talking to Lynn because it was genuinely one of my favourite bits.
It was so nice.
I was there to commentate / on a holiday. It was brilliant. It was so, so gorgeous. I would 100% go back.
Would recommend.
Yeah.
But like you said, on Saturday, so there was 4 games on the Saturday, 4 prelim games. And because we were staff, we could still walk around and you could see all the games that are happening, and you could see all the often strange calls that were being asked by the judges.
You needed judges. That shout out to the ICA and our
Ronan
friends in the
and
UK as well, who were all sent over to be judges on the preliminaries, the semis, and the final game. And by God, they were worked. You know,
Yeah.
those calls needed to be made. Some of them very controversial. Some of them insanely obvious.
The one about what about the one at the longest road?
Yeah. Okay.
The longest.
Like, listen, it is controversial, and you're following the letter of the law there. I suppose context is needed.
So the call was, it was a 3-person game. But there was a winner at 10, and then the 2 people that were left were fighting for 2nd and 3rd place. Both had 7 points on the board, and one of them was on 9 points because they had the longest road. And then when the person in 3rd place who had 7 points was counting up their points, they realised they actually had the longest road. So they then turned and said, oh, I need the card. And then the person who had the card, who at the time then had the shortest road, or a shorter road, was said, well, the ruling on the card is whoever builds 5 roads gets this longest road card, and whoever builds a longer road takes this card.
So the word takes was very key.
Very
key. The player didn't take it, even though they had longer roads. Like, this is what I've never said this in a video, but this is something to discuss in the comments.
This is, yes. So
like, the fix to this will be change the word takes to receives, and then it's just like you're playing it online, it goes automatically, and there you go. But you're playing a tournament, tensions are high.
Yeah.
And a part of me,
you're scrambling for points.
a part of me almost respects the play, respects the interpretation and the ability to defend that stance and argue it to the point of success.
Yes.
Is like, that's key. That's actually being a very, very good Catan player.
Yeah.
Do I agree with it? No.
No. And I think if I was the other person who was now not allowed to get the longest road card, my argument would have been good effort, but that's not how we play the game.
You'd have flipped the table, it would have been done.
Because because I believe, well, up to now, I believe that the card was like a formality. It was the thing that you have in front of you, so you know I have the longest road.
Yeah.
It was a thing that in the virtual game pops over your head when you get the longest road to say I have the longest road.
It's a thing that you're playing in if you're playing in a 4-player game in person, you would often leave in the box.
We don't even take them out. The largest army card doesn't even come out because you've got more knights, it's yours. So it's a thing where, or you could have it where it comes at the end of the game, then you get it. But I think the person who was holding on to the card valued the card as 2 points.
It was the signifier of the points as opposed to the roads itself.
Yes, the 2 points was the card, not whoever has the longest road is owed 2 points. So I have the card, therefore I have 2 points. And because they went by the letter of the law saying the person with the long road takes this card and this card wasn't taken, therefore I still have it, therefore I have the longest road card being 2 points, it was controversial.
It's controversial. This is maybe the 8th time we've spoken about it since we got home as well. Say what you will about the move. It's one of the prevailing memories of the whole competition.
And anyone we say to are just like, what? But still, I mean, fair play. And it didn't make any difference in the rankings anyway. Do you know what I mean? Everyone finished where they finished. So
exactly, yes.
And you know what I mean? Fair play. It was all good. But Yes,
it was fun to be able to amble about and watch these games, watch these calls being made.
Yes, exactly. It was very cool. And then also just getting used to, because as well on the Saturday, like we'd know nothing to do. I mean, we were there, we were helping people out, but it was only when all the games on Saturday were finished that they were like, okay, well, tomorrow with the semi-final and the final that you're working on, I was like, oh no. Everyone else is kind of finishing their weekend. Ours is starting now.
It did feel
and
a bit
when I was
like
like,
that,
oh, geez.
We'd done prepped. We had like a bit of a script down so that we weren't completely bricking ourselves. Like let's talk about the difference between this.
Here.
This is a safe space where I can say whatever I want. Safe
as
in the
you
knowledge.
did at the start.
As I do, knowing that if I go too far, if I say something I'll regret, Phil will chop it out and I'll never have to worry about it. Whereas we were both live. And I now have so much more respect for every live TV presenter in the world. I'd do it again.
Oh,
I would never do
sure.
it as a job.
Absolutely.
It was so scary.
It was definitely daunting, it being live. And as well, from the Sunday. So we were thinking of what we're going to do, how we're going to say it, things like that. And then maybe 10 minutes before we started, we were told, oh, and you're going to be talking to Benny and Klaus just before the game starts.
That was cool.
And we were like, this is amazing and terrifying. Because what are we going to say?
It was great because we were like, that's so great that we got them on the stream. But we were also like, but we have a table here. We only have 2 mics. I don't know if it's going to pick everything up. This is terrible. How are we going to deal with it? It went fine.
Because all the screen tests and the mic tests were all done for us to sit at the table of 2. So then suddenly when they said, and 2 more people are going to be there, we kind of, it was a scramble. And because there's no practicing when you're dealing with Benny and Klaus. It's just, here they are, do what you do. And because they've important things to do. So they came in, we're shuffling with the chairs. But it was a cool chat. It was, they told us it was short and sweet, a few minutes of chatting. And then it came up with the cities being our colours. And then Benny talking about the orange being the colour that he read from Klaus. So it all tied it. Like it was cool.
It did work out. It did absolutely work out. And the mics did pick them up.
And they picked us all up, So that was handy.
Thanks very much, Kenny and Sound. Actually, huge shout out to the live stream team who were all based in Malta. The setup was absolutely incredible. It was so cool. Like there's the what we saw was just brilliant. To have like a 4-camera setup so you could see each of the players and the board top down as well.
Yeah,
bliss. Like
like in front of us, as you can see in the pictures, there's like 2 screens in front of us. We could always see the board, always see the players,
always hear the players.
So that was very, very cool. But the first game being 3 hours long was a test to my bladder. It was a test because when it was being on, I was bursting for the toilet. I needed to go to wee so bad. And
you can hear me say that, apparently.
Well, that's after the... So I need to go to the toilet so bad, and then after a while, then Carney just slips over a note, and she's written down, I need to wee so bad. And I was like, oh my God, me too.
This is the vital information we're passing between each other.
Because I think with an hour... So 2 hours in, Christian was on 9, and the game could have been over... The game was going to be over in a minute. The game could have been over in less than a minute. And I was thinking, I need to go to the toilet, but if I go now, it'll be over when I come back.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, it'll be over in a minute, and over in a minute, over in a minute. Smash cut to an hour later, we're still saying over in a minute, but I need to go to the toilet so bad. So it was a strain, but it was so much fun. And then of course it was over. So you can hear in the stream as well that they didn't cut our mics as soon as the video cut.
Yeah.
So all you hear is literally us dropping the mic and you in a dart screaming, I need to wee.
We'll be back very soon with the World Championship Final 2022 here in Malta.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I have to wee. Like we were talking about highlights, and I don't know if this counts, but I'm going to say it anyway. I was so hungry after that first game. So was the winner, I believe the semi we commented on, that was won by Eric
Freeman, from the United States.
Exactly. He was also starving, but I was so hungry. And like the restaurants were on different floors.
Well, because lunch...
Two of the lifts didn't work. We had skipped lunch because we were setting up.
Yeah, lunch was on for everyone else when we were setting up for the stream. So then I was like, oh, we'll just get food after the stream. But then the stream went on for 3 hours and everything was put away. So there's no food.
Morgan came through the like main hall with like 4 lunch boxes full of burgers, and he may as well have been Moses parting the Red Sea. It was all I wanted to see. Just like a shining light. He was glowing.
He just floated in.
Yeah. And I grabbed
of
one
food.
off him, and I think we were going live in 2 minutes.
We
by
were
the time
just
it came.
housing burger.
Inhaled it.
And Az was then waving, going, you're starting soon. And we were just like, eating. And then, And then, of course, we started, and thankfully, but there was no way we would have been able to do the final. But equally, thankfully as well, at least Eric won, and he was the player. He was one of the players, and he said, I need to get food. So he probably bought us a few more time, because I don't know if the commentator said, we need food. They were like, doesn't matter. We're going live. Eric's
kind of a cool player to bring up, just with regards to everyone else who was attending the tournament. There was obviously a lot of +1s there. It was very nice to meet you. You know who you are. But there was some cool stuff going on. Like Eric brought
his entourage.
I didn't want to say it, but it was an entourage. He brought an entourage of his mates who he was playing with in New York and competed with at the qualifiers there. But one of them his name is Jack Usher, and he's working on a documentary all about Eric's journey to CATAN, and I assume their friend groups as well.
Yeah, and his journey through the competitions. And it's called The Longest Road. So it should be on a streaming service soon, hopefully. It
was very cool. I like to see someone putting that amount of effort into making what looks to be a legit documentary. It's like, I'm watching that. That sounds amazing.
And we're in it. So it kind of...
Yeah, let's see if that lasts. Let's see if that doesn't get cut.
So that was cool, because on the Sunday night... Oh, yeah, of course it could be cut. Oh, no, Eric.
You shouldn't watch that.
Yeah, Jack, don't be cutting it. But no, he chatted to us at the end. On the Sunday night then, after the dinner, he chatted to the two of us, just kind of get a recap of the weekend.
You were there recapping the weekend. I'm there holding a bucket of wine.
To be involved then with the documentary as well, which we didn't even know until we were all there.
No, we figured it out fairly quickly, just because like Eric was walking around and there was always like a girl like following him with a camera or a phone, and I'm like, that's interesting.
Yeah, no, so it was really cool to be part of that then as well. And then again, but it's just meeting all the people and everyone's different stories, and as Lynn touched on as well, meeting different people from different countries that we'd never meet people from. You know, obviously if you're world travelled or whatever, but just everyone coming together from all parts of the world to play Catan is just so much fun.
And we had some familiar faces as well, people that I wasn't expecting to see, not because they're bad, but because they would have been there 2 years ago or whatever. 4 years ago now, it was so long.
So 4 years ago was real time.
Yeah.
But events wise, because you were in Cologne, so Sylvanus was there. He'd been in Cologne, then we met him in Utrecht, then he was here as well in Malta.
Exactly. Sylvanus I played my first game with, I think, in Cologne, first or second game, and then Boat from Thailand was there as well, he was in one of my very early games in Cologne as well. It's just like, oh my god, I wasn't expecting to see like that recent of if you get me familiar face as well. It was really lovely. Just
very cool.
Yeah. Let's talk about swag.
Oh, the swag, yeah. So we got some cool things. So we got this bag, the Malta bag with the cool Malta artwork. And we got the cup. We got a cool cup there. We also got these awesome turquoise kind of marble-esque robbers. So they were pretty cool. They were really, really good.
And they're heavy, which there's
a nice weight to them.
Which I'm all
so when you plank that robber down, people are going to feel it.
Yeah.
We got the new helpers.
Yes.
Which we're going to do another video on.
Very
we're going to talk about the helpers there. And we got these cool shirts, of course. Everyone got the shirts that we were wearing on the stream, and all the players got them as well. So that was kind of cool. The Malta patch and everything.
That is superfluous. That's optional, but also integral.
Rockin' and Toast logo there, and cool. And our names and stuff at the back. So the shirts were a great touch. Bowling shirt for the America vibe. So it was very cool.
We also got the Malta scenario.
Yes. The Malta, that's cool.
So it's like a one-off.
So give me your thoughts on the different play styles from around the world.
So you say different play styles, which I think is very respectful and super nice. But
I'm a nice guy.
What? Yeah, that's so good. I'm not. So the main difference was, and we touched on it when we were watching it because we knew it was coming up, and we'd witnessed it just watching other Catan games online.
Yeah, the other streams, yeah.
Don't think we'd witnessed it to the extent that we saw it, especially in the semis. And that is the huge amount of table talk that goes on, the huge amount of discussion. It's almost like psyching other players out.
Yeah.
Linda mentioned it earlier on. It's talking about your own moves, talking about everyone else's moves and trying to finagle a way that it all works out in your favour. And sometimes that can be done very well. Sometimes it can be done quite charmingly. Sometimes it can be done quite bluntly. Sometimes it can be done because the person leading the table is right 99% of the time. Yeah. And is genuinely trying to, obviously benefit themselves, but benefit whoever it is they're manipulating. I use that word very, very loosely.
Yeah, they're trying to prolong the game to their benefit.
Yeah. And it was very interesting to watch because I've never played at that level before, and I've never played with that style before, and I think I would have either been A, very intimidated, or B, told someone exactly where to get off.
I think,
been like, sorry, is it your turn? Is it your turn? Maybe we should practice being for real though.
You're dead right. And I think in the semis, I think Thiago had a sense of that, where Bo was trying to convince Thiago to do a move by porting all his ore, which was the thing to do. But I think Thiago's hesitation was because he didn't think of it first. Not that he needs to think of it first, but because the reluctancy of to do what someone's telling you to do off the bat. You're like, okay, well, let me get my own head around this before I realise it is the best option. Mm-hmm. Because initially, when your opponent is trying to get you to do something, your gut reaction is going to be, no way, I'm going to do my own thing. And it took him a while to kind of come round, understandably, because, that is the better option to do. But you're not going to just do what everyone says.
You're also having... I don't know if it was prevalent in that specific move, but there were moments in that semi-final game that were America versus the world.
And we said at the time as well, it was felt like Team America because, the different play style as well were very obvious in that game because two of them were American.
So what's interesting about that as well is how Christian from Denmark, chatting to him afterwards, purposefully changed his play style. He was like, I don't want to go in, I don't want to be like aggressive, although that's a very aggressive word to use, but I just want to sort of keep to myself, if you will, and almost play the nice guy. And
because he didn't want to be perceived as the mean guy.
Exactly.
Even though he's not mean, it's just he's playing Catan. Mm-hmm. But he was like, there are other people that are going to be... It's going to be easy for them to seem mean if I just take a step back when he's playing against two people that are from the States. So it was very, very good move on his part. But he was also on the back foot because Thiago didn't have a huge amount of English, which meant, one, a lot of the aggressive American style didn't really work on him because he didn't understand a lot of it.
Which is great, actually.
Which is cool. But then also kind of left Christian on a bit of at a disadvantage because then he's only half of the Team Europe, which I know Thiago's from Brazil, but it was him against an American and then Thiago, who didn't have very good English. So it did sway often over which way the game was going.
I think Christian knew exactly how he wanted to play that game.
Yeah.
He played it in a similar way. I would love to play it if I was ever as good as him. I really respected it. It didn't work out in his favour in the end. The game, like we said, it was won by Eric. But Christian sat on 9 points for that hour you mentioned earlier.
At least over an hour.
If the roles had gone any differently, Christian would have been one of two Danes in the eventual final. So it didn't work out for him in the end, but it absolutely could have.
Yeah,
I do think that. I do believe that.
Because that's what we were saying before when we said we need to go to the toilet. Like, the game was over any minute now for over an hour.
And what won it was, in the end, it was the playing of Monopoly based on rolls. It was the accumulation of brick. If those rolls had been any different and if Christian was up beforehand.
Because the roll was... So it was Eric's turn, and Eric wanted to use his Monopoly to take 2 ore from Bo and 2 ore from either Christian or Thiago. But with that 4 ore, he wasn't able to do anything. He just didn't want other people to have the ore.
Yes.
And Bo convinced him not to use the mono to get the ore.
Amazing.
And then it went around, and then only because Eric didn't use the mono for the ore, he had the mono in hand. There was a load of brick rolled up before his turn. He used the mono on all the brick and then traded all in and built to win the game.
Do you know that clip in The Simpsons where if you go frame by frame, you can see Ralph Wiggum's heart breaking? If you watch Bo during the semi-final as the roles progress through the last, you can. I think he actually says, "I've made a mistake.
I've made a mistake
I
because
shouldn't have told you to do that."
Yeah, because if Bo had let him use the mono, then Eric wouldn't have been able to. He mightn't have been able to win. At least would have gone around another time because he would have had 4-or. But so it was very interesting to see someone for Bo to work so hard to get Eric to not do something to be the thing that won him the game, and so. He won it because Bo didn't let him do something.
Maybe this is just my hot take watching it as well, but Eric went so quiet. Like once those bricks were accumulating, I swear to God, his face went red as well. Yeah. He was like, you could see him realise what he could potentially do.
Exactly, because
don't draw attention to myself. Just say nothing.
Because on Thiago's turn, he wanted to. Bo traded with him a brick or a wood to get one road. With the idea that when it comes back around to you, I'll give you the next trade so you can get the longest road then. And so if it had gone around one more time, Eric would have lost his longest road, so he'd be down to 8 or 7, and it would have been the game could have gone on for another hour. But it was very poetic that the mono that he was convinced not to use then won him the game.
So 3 hours pass, we are fed, we are watered, we are bathroomed.
We are toileted.
And the final can finally commence. From the semi-game that we were commentating on, we had Eric Freeman from the States, we had Hamish from New Zealand, Thomas from Denmark, and Emanuele Scappaticci from Italy, which I think I'm pronouncing correctly.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It started a little bit later than expected, but that was nobody's fault. We were all tired. We were all very busy.
Yeah.
And things kicked off and immediately different vibe. Let's be real.
Well, it was down to... Well, also, so Hamish was the first semi-final to win.
Oh,
so he had about 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours between the end of his semi to the beginning of the final. So I think he went home for a nap. Nice. No, he didn't. But so there was a good wait. So I think Eric was the only one that went straight from the semi, quick food and back in. So it was definitely more relaxed because everyone had a bit of a break before. And so it was a nice fresh start. And Benny then didn't make a mistake putting out the tiles this time.
Oh, we didn't mention that in the semis. Yeah, we came in just as the tiles were being put down, and it turns out an error was made. Because
the desert wasn't in the tiles when he was putting down the board. So he had one tile left with 2 spaces left, and then they realised the desert was missing.
I love the
so
idea.
Pick them all up again, start again.
Klaus in the background being like, you just can't get the staff these days, my God.
Shaking his head in disapproval.
But yeah, the final game, everything went down without a hitch, and things kicked off. And I would say, like, immediately the tone was different. Eric was there, but there was already a little bit less table talk early game because it kicked off so early. I wasn't expecting there to be hypotheticals thrown out
straight away.
Exactly. Yeah. Eric was there. Eric and Hamish, I think, bounced off each other quite well, if you get me. They were similar enough. There was a lot of early ganging up on Thomas.
Yeah, big time.
He had some good placements. We even said that he had great placements.
Yeah.
But they weren't amazing given the board that was in front of him. But he was an immediate early threat, and that hammered him. Emmanuel, let's just say it early, absolutely obliterated them with dev cards.
Yeah.
Racking them up. He rarely had less than 4 unturned in
but
front
also,
of
again,
him.
And not playing them as
and
well.
not playing them.
So just scary to think of that pile of dev cards building up in front of you going, what has he got?
Jumping between us in the stream, you can jump 10 minutes being like, I think one of them's a VP. 2 are definitely VPs.
Yeah.
That guy has 3 VPs there. Oh no, 4. He's got 4. He's hiding a hand of 4. Yeah.
Yeah. But as well, you were saying with Thomas as well, because he was such in a good position at the start, it was one of those situations where he was hit with the robber early, and then it just became muscle memory for everyone to just keep putting the robber on him.
Yeah.
And till it got to a point where he wasn't actually the biggest threat at the time, but everyone was still putting the robber on him.
Not by a country mile he wasn't. Yeah. And there was a point it was hopping on the 8. If I recall, it was an 8 brick kept going on to, which he shared with Emmanuel as well. And that was sort of what we were thinking, in that if any of Emmanuel's dev cards are knights, why is that still there?
Yeah, because he would have used one straight away.
You would have
at least one of them. Yeah. And then, so because it was 2 rolls in or 3, revolutions there in that Hamish was like, oh, my game is over. There's no recovering from this.
Oh yeah, he was ready to throw in the
He
towel.
wanted to go home.
Finito, hop a plane back, done.
Come on, I need something. A 4. Something. Fight. Disaster.
Come on.
I mean, I've got the worst position. I could at least get some rolls go my way.
We'd love a 4.
I think I'm getting a city.
Oh my god.
Well done, Emmanuel.
It is. I don't think I can recover from the start.
And then he goes and wins.
Does that sound familiar at all?
To what I say.
A little bit.
But it is a comeback. There's a comeback.
Picked up in 8 turns. There's no
You
point
can.
in going down. You always win those games.
I think, yeah. Sometimes. But when you haven't picked up for, 15 rolls and people have multiple cities and you're still on your 2 settlements, there is sometimes that you're going to go, there's no coming back. But then we've all come back from those times. But then, of course, you forget all the times you say there's no coming back from this, and then you do end on 2 and you're like, that game was terrible.
Have I ever ended on 2? Maybe. Probably.
There's definitely. After 100 games. 100 games.
There was one of Hamish's sort of early complaints, though, we found out afterwards, was totally legit. He was giving out stink about dev cards, and we're like, there's no way they can be that bad. But given the timing of the game,
Of receiving them,
when he received them, turns out they were that bad. They were not fun to have.
Yeah, he had both monopolies, but then no one was picking up enough of the resources to make it fruitful. So you're not going to play a monopoly to get 2 wood. And then, so he was waiting for his time to use them, and then he was buying them, but then Emmanuel kept buying the dev cards, and he stuck with his 2 or 3 dev cards, the same as was, and both the monopolies. So yeah, but he kept saying these are the worst cards you could have. But then after a while, we figured out what he had. So the final was a refreshingly shorter game than the semi, just in like an hour and a half maybe, and it was good. It was quick to the point. As he said, there was less table talk. Probably because there was 4 different nationalities playing.
There was what I would call the right amount. It didn't dissipate. It was much more balanced, which I enjoy as both a viewer and a player.
Big time. But it was nice too as well because Hamish was there with his family. He had his wife there, his 2 daughters there. So as someone to win in the final, it was a cool there for the family to see him, and the kids were there. Like, it was very cool.
And at the very end, at the closing ceremony, it was commented on that in one of Klaus's speeches on maybe the Friday or the Saturday.
On the opening speech, on the Saturday morning.
Oh, Saturday morning, just saying that the winner will be the person who has travelled the furthest, and Hamish was from New Zealand. Don't know if it was the furthest, but it was pretty far.
Pretty damn far. And as well as meeting some familiar faces, we did meet some new people too, so that was cool. So we got to know Sarvat, the previous Canadian champion, Elise, the current Canadian champion as well, both very cool.
Yeah, Sarvat was the first person we met as we trundled into the hotel at midnight on the Friday morning. Thanks so much, Ryanair, we appreciate it. Great flight times there. Met some new faces. We
got to know Christian, who was in the semi-final, and Eric as well. His crowd as well, they were cool.
They were nice guys.
Tomer as well from Israel.
And his girlfriend, Sagrand. They were great. They were really, really friendly
really
and nice.
People.
Same with Luca, who was representing the Netherlands, and his partner Christine was there. So nice.
Yeah, chatting to Emmanuel from Italy.
Oh, yeah,
You got to know him as well. That was cool. And Pete from Australia. And, of course, all the folks at CATAN. Sebastian, Az, Bria, Donna, Stephanie, Morgan, Pete, Ron, Kelly. Everyone from CATAN was just so welcoming and so nice. And thank you for bringing us to Malta.
Thank you so much. And I should also mention all of the other companies that I completely forgot to mention at the end of the stream because I was so tired. There's everyone at CATAN Studio, but there's also the team at CATAN GmbH, Devere, Caro and Orange from Cosmos, Asmodee, and many other corporate identities that have flown over my head that I do not know.
But all the main CATAN publishers were all there.
Exactly.
It was very cool.
All the big dudes. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
And that was Malta and the 2022 CATAN World Championships. And it was a dream.
It was so much fun. It felt like the perfect culmination of this little experiment we've been doing in your attic for the past year, starting with the Road 2 series at the Digital CATAN World Championship, filming the final of the ICA, which was an ordeal in and of itself. Phil did that. I was there for moral support, essentially. But it was a lovely sort of cap to this cool little project we've undertaken. And I remember saying at the end of our last video in the Road 2 series that we're going to expand. We're going to look at many other games. We're going to experiment with new ideas. And while I still think that's semi-true...
Well, it will happen.
It will happen. But
after... we've lent very heavily into Catan straight away.
And we're leaning a tiny bit harder. We do have some immediate ideas.
We do. We've got more Catan stuff in the pipeline.
Very exciting. Because they have more new stuff coming out. So why not chat a little bit about it?
Yep.
And then do exactly what we said we were going to do. We obviously really, really love Catan, but we love board games in general. And I think it'd be cool for us to be able to share a little bit more about that.
For sure.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you can check out the Road 2 series if you want to. But for now, thank you so much for watching. And thank you for being on this commentary journey with us.
It's been fun.